Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we have to talk about how dealerships are experiencing a mass exodus, whether it be employees getting fired or just straight up quitting because of everything that's happening in the car market. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And if you want to see more content just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post these videos every single day. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the positions that are currently leaving dealers and why these positions are leaving dealers, and then also the positions that are getting fired as well. So first off, salespeople. Now, for the most part, the salespeople are quitting and they're not getting fired, and it's for a number of reasons. First off, volume is down, so they're just not selling as many cars. And then overall profitability for dealers is also down. So with most salespeople still being paid off of gross commission, well, they're not making as much money because they're selling fewer cars at a lower profit amount. So why would they stay? So a lot of them are leaving the car business altogether. Some of them are going to other dealers that they think they can make more money at, but that's kind of the general trend there. The next position is what is known as a desk manager. This is the person that desks the deals. This will be the person that will probably walk out to you while you're purchasing a car and say, hey, buy this car from my sales guy. It's the person that works the numbers with the car deal. Same thing applies to them as these salespeople were. Volume's down, profitability's down, so why would they stay? And so they're in that grass is greener mentality where they're either going to other dealers or they're just leaving the car business altogether. And then the next position that's actually getting fired quite often is finance managers, because their profits have decreased by a much larger margin compared to other parts of the dealership on average. And so there's a lot of finance managers that are just quitting because, well, if they're not making the dealership as much money, then they're not making themselves as much money. So they're like, yep, I'm done. Or they're getting fired because the dealership is like, okay, this person's doing something wrong. We need to get someone else in this position. And then the next position that's leaving is general sales managers. They're basically the boss of everyone at the dealer. And again, they're paid on the profits just like everyone else. And so, the getting's not good anymore. And so like, yep, I'm done. And then that also applies to general managers. And this one's kind of interesting because general managers are also paid on the profits from the service department, which even in a recessionary time is still typically pretty profitable because, well, people still have to service their cars. But there's a lot of them that basically just cashed in as much as they could over the last couple of years while profits were super high. And now they're like, yep, I don't even want to deal with the brain damage of what this market is going to hold. And so they're just leaving, or they're leaving to other dealers. That's what I'm seeing more commonly is these general managers are quitting one dealership and going to another dealer because they view that other dealer as kind of like a safe haven because of the product they sell typically. And then the last one is store owners. Now, a lot of store owners basically sold their stores over the last couple of years because they saw that this market was unsustainable, and they're like, yep, we got to get out now before things get too crazy, cash out while the getting's good, right? Some of that is still happening though because the market's declining so much. A lot of them are trying to now like liquidate and get out because they're like, yep, again, don't want to deal with the brain damage. Now, if we look at the raw numbers, most dealers' profits have decreased by 25% to 50% on average per car. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions that are even worse than that, and there are some exceptions that, well, are not nearly that bad. Some dealers are actually making more money right now than they were before, but again, those are exceptions. And so you can see that it makes logical sense as to why everyone is leaving or getting fired, because the whole situation is trying to figure itself out. And this wouldn't be an issue actually if dealers were selling more cars, but the problem is they're making less money on the car sales, and then they're also selling less cars right now. So it's just bad overall. And to give you some like actual tangible figures, on the front end of the car deal, which is the profit that a dealer makes with the car itself, so this doesn't include any sort of financing products or accessories or anything like that, just the car itself, most dealers have seen all of that profit pretty much erode away. There's still a little bit left. On average, a lot of dealers are making, $1,000 to $2,000, sometimes $3,000 per car. It just depends on the manufacturer. It also all depends on the dealership, like where they're located. There are some dealers that their front end profit is completely gone. Like they are literally selling cars at cost right now, especially if they're used. Sometimes they're selling them under cost because of how much the used car market has declined. But dealers obviously make profit in other ways with accessories and then also with their finance departments. Well, on the accessory side of things, vehicles that have accessories on them are starting to age on dealer lots. And I've seen this in real time with reviews that I film where I'll go in and film a vehicle that'll have some cool accessories on it. And then I'll go to that dealership a month later or 2 months later, and that same vehicle is still sitting on the lot. Nobody's purchased it. And so, their accessory profits could still be there, hypothetically, if people would buy the cars with the accessories on them, but people aren't biting right now. And so those profits are starting to dry up as well. And then with the financing profits, this is where they've been hit pretty dang hard. There are a lot of finance managers that told me that they were making $3,000 to $4,000 in profit per car on average just a few months ago. And now they're in the $600 to $1,500 range in terms of profit per car, which is even worse compared to what most dealers were doing prior to the pandemic. Because prior to the pandemic, most dealers were able to make about $1,500 to $3,000 in profit per car with the financing side of things. Again, just depends on the manufacturer, depends on the region. There's a lot that goes into that. And so it's as if dealer profits are starting to now not only decline, but go below what they were like before the pandemic. And again, that could be supported if volume was higher, but it's not. Now let's talk about what this is going to do to dealers in the short term and in the long term, and then how you can use this information to help you out as a buyer. So first off, in the short term, there's going to be a lot of volatility, and it's probably going to get a lot worse as the months progress. So again, you're going to see more people get fired. You're going to see more people just get up and quit. And so what I would say is if you're currently in the car business, this might be the best possible time to actually get a promotion. And I've already seen several people get promoted to higher up positions just based on the fact that their boss quit. And it's really hard to hire people right now because we're in a jobs market where there are more jobs than there are people. And so, yeah, if you want a higher up position in a dealership, again, this might be the time to do so. Now, in the long term, we're eventually going to hit a bottom with these profits. Things are going to stabilize, and dealers are obviously going to, kind of have a reset where they're going to figure things out and they're going to find out, how to make it so that they can be as profitable as possible while keeping their customers as happy as possible, if there is such a thing in the car world, because people are never happy with car purchases, it seems like. And I'm already starting to see this happen with some dealers because there are certain manufacturers right now that are really strained with supply. And so what these dealers are doing, because they know that the market's changing and that, sentiment with people is changing, is they're changing their strategy with how to make profit. And so one thing that I would say that's going to become more and more common is accessories on vehicles that aren't super expensive, but they're accessories nonetheless, and they're extra profit centers for dealers. And I'll talk about that at the end portion of the video when I talk about, how you can use this information to help you out as a buyer. But just know that dealers they're going to find some sort of equilibrium with this whole price drop, and it'll figure itself out. Now, in terms of how you can use this information to help you out as a buyer, first off, what you have to know is that dealers are going to continue to get more and more desperate as time goes on because, again, they're seeing profits dwindle. They're also seeing volume dwindle. So you can use that to your advantage to get a better car deal because at this point, cars are replaceable and customers are not. It was the opposite last year. And so now that it's flipped and it's more of a buyer's market rather than a seller's market, well, they're going to have to work harder to earn your business. So again, use that to your advantage. But on the flip side, dealers are going to start tacking on more fees to try to make up for these lost profits. So just expect that you're going to see a lot more vehicles with packages on them that are, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 that are, maybe window tint, nitrogen in the tires, all sorts of stuff so that dealers can, again, recoup some of these profits. I'm going to make a dedicated video to this because this is a very interesting trend that I'm seeing. But just know for this video's sake that that's something else you're going to have to worry about negotiating now that, again, there were some dealers that have always done this, but it's becoming a lot more prevalent now. That's going to sum things up for today's video. If you want to see more videos just like this, then like I said, I'd subscribe because I post these videos every single day. I'll see you.